Keynote by Nick Spanos, Zap.
It's incredible. So many people are here. I mean, we've been doing this a long time. And before I start, I want to thank everyone who's making this possible. And the island nation of Malta, of course. Who am I? Well, a lot of people know me from the documentary, Banking on Bitcoin, back in 2013. It's a Netflix documentary. That was my first computer in 1978. I sold political data most of my life. The first digital scarcity that existed was domain names. Got a bunch of those. We built years ago, we built getaroom.com and Livery Cab. We didn't win, these guys won. So 100 feet from the New York Stock Exchange, I opened the first Bitcoin trading floor back in 2013. It was memorialized in that movie. There's some images called the Bitcoin Center. We opened up the Blockchain Center in the Miami Blockchain Center. That's Mara Suarez there. And we swore to make Miami a hub of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. My guys threw that in there. I think that's Venezuela, upper right. Well, innovation, of course, comes without permission. We shouldn't be asking permission to innovate. You don't have to ask permission to give the world the promise that was instilled within you. Once you ask permission, I saw before we were talking, the regulators, they were talking about regulation before. Well, New York made the bit license because we opened that exchange, and all the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency businesses left New York City, New York State, because of that license. So there are many reasons why I got into cryptocurrency. The Federal Reserve was the biggest one. I used to work for Dr. Ron Paul, ran for president. Uh-oh, I didn't do that. I ran for president a few times. It's moving by itself. So this is the old dollar bill and the Federal Reserve note. The old dollar bill before the Federal Reserve was redeemable in silver. Silver certificate right there. You have the Zimbabwe note. We all know what happened to Zimbabwe. Venezuela, the Bolivar was overprinted. So Dr. Ron Paul taught us about competing currencies, and I was in politics for a long time. And being in politics, I promoted the candidates that would perpetuate the idea of scarcity in the currency. So he says over here, we've been overtaxed, overregulated, overrun by bureaucrats. The founding fathers would be ashamed of us for what we're putting up with. I like that one. Uh-oh. So, show of hands in the audience. Who are crypto people here? About half of you, huh? There are many things going on in the space here. And I believe that the crypto people have to be emboldened because regulation and regulators are not going to be the ones who are going to hand over what you thought you needed to continue in this industry. What you have to do is be emboldened. I remember I have many lessons, and the lessons I think that emboldened me in the past was my father gave me a bicycle when I was a little kid, and It was a really junky bicycle. He was a mechanic, so he put it together himself. And all the other kids had nice, fancy bicycles, and they had training wheels and stuff. And, we feel we need to have the training wheels in our industry. We hire the top law firms. We we teach them about crypto. I don't know how many millions of dollars I spent teaching law firms and lawyers what crypto is. But, so the kids had these fancy bicycles with the fancy training wheels, and I was riding around, and I didn't know any better. But then they said, oh, you have an ugly bicycle. Like in the beginning of crypto, you have what is that? Internet money? Is that a video game money? What do you think you're doing here? I mean, we're the fancy Goldman Sachs. We're the fancy this and that. So it was just like that, and I hid the bicycle when I was a kid in the back of the hallway, and my father asked me one day, why aren't you riding the bicycle? I go, I don't like the training wheels. I lied to him. I don't like the training wheels. And he took the training wheels off. He says, today we're going to learn how to ride the bicycle the way we have to learn how to run untethered in the world and promote this incredible invention that's been brought to us. So I'm wheeling the bicycle outside, and I saw the kids with the fancy bicycles through the door. I said, oh, they're oppressing me. I don't want to go out there. They're oppressing me. In Greek, it's mekatapiezune. My father grew up in Crete, which is an island close to here. And I said, mekatapiezune, they're oppressing me. These people are oppressing me. He said, they're oppressing you? You must be pretty oppressible. You must be pretty oppressible to sit and wait for some regulators to come up with some nonsense after being paid by the banks to try to stifle the growth and adoption of cryptocurrency. Then I took the bicycle outside, and I said, there's all these people, they're thinking this, they're thinking that. When we opened the Bitcoin Center, people thought, right next to the New York Stock Exchange, what the heck is that? We had many situations where regulators would come in and try to figure out what we were doing, but we didn't do anything wrong. I didn't charge anything. People could trade with each other peer-to-peer, and that opened up a new world, I believe. And my father said, oh, you're worried what they're thinking? There's millions of them out there. You're going to sit around thinking what all these people are thinking all day? You're not going to get anywhere. I said, but Dad, I don't want to do it right now. I need more time. I need more time. He's like, you don't want to go to the next step in your crypto company because you need more time to figure things out. Well, my dad said there is no more time. You have to give more of you per moment. You have to give more of you per moment of time, per second. There has to be more of you to be able to unleash this beast that we need to take the other beasts out. My father said, "Tirio den yinesan, tirio den tros." That means a beast you will never become unless you eat beasts. So, I believe it's my job to embolden people. I go all over the world and I express to them and try to instill in them what I believe it takes, because I've been everywhere and I've talked to everybody and I've hired everybody and I've fired everybody. I understand that this here is a battle, and some places are going to rise to the occasion, yes, regulatorily, and some won't. So you got to find your way. And he always said that you'll always do good. You'll always have the strength to continue while doing good. So if you believe you're doing good, you'll always persevere. So then he says, all right, get on the bicycle. I get on the bicycle. He goes, listen, you're going to pedal. I'm going to hold the seat. As we go down the road, you're not going to hear my feet anymore. because I'm going to be running so fast. I said, well, how do I know where to go? He said, always look where you want to go. Never look to the side. So if you have the belief or you have the inspiration to build a tremendous crypto company, you have to set your target and move towards that target, and don't let anything stop you. Not jurisdiction. Move out of the jurisdiction if that's what's bothering you. Do what you have to do to get the job done, because we're in a place here where we're about to release the world from centralization. Over 10,000 years have transpired through centralizations. The pyramids were built because some guy wanted to put his name on some, and tens of thousands of people died as slaves in centralization, and that's perpetuated throughout time to this moment. And we have the technology now to have peer-to-peer relationships and transactions with people throughout the world, which would decentralize the world and decentralize authority and governance. So I believe we have an incredible duty to all our ancestors who came before us. Thousands of people died. Your ancestors died for you to be here right now. Each and every one of you are here for a reason. And this little small window of opportunity exists at this moment. So there is no more time. The time is now. We need more of you per moment to complete this job that we set out, that we're standing on the shoulders of giants for decades, have been trying to achieve this. I said, what if there are people in my way when I'm riding a bicycle? He said, even the whole world will step aside after you know where you're going. After each and every one of you in the audience here knows where you're going, after you have the target, the whole world will step aside for you. Me, I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody with no qualification. I have no financial background. I didn't know anything. But I knew, after getting pummeled in the political arena, supporting candidates who wanted to audit the Federal Reserve, I knew what my job was. I knew. And I was emboldened by the lessons of my mother and my father to get that done. I'm a nobody. You guys are people, you're somebodies. You can get this job done in your jurisdiction, in your area of expertise. I said, what if I fail, Dad? What if I fall off the bike? He's like, everybody falls down. That's how you learn. If you don't fall down, you're never going to learn. I don't think Zuckerberg learned yet anything. I don't think he fell down yet, but hopefully a big one's coming for him. But every time you lose, you learn. That's the only way you learn. That's how it's instilled in your bones, in your brain, in your marrow, in your blood. It sparks in you the life that you need, the energy that you need to fight and win. So he said, I'm going to hold you up, but then I'm going to run so fast you're not going to see me anymore. You're not going to hear me anymore. And I started pedaling. And all of a sudden, I didn't hear him. And I looked back, look where you want to go, because the bike started shaking. All of a sudden, these people were looking at me. And I go, I know them people. Then the bike started shaking. I go, look, there's millions of them. Look where you want to go. Look at the target. The dismantling of decentralization is our duty to all the generations that are going to come here and after. It's our duty. So I got to ride the bicycle. I had to go. There was a corner. I didn't know how to turn. He said, look where you want to go. So I went, whoop. And I made it around the corner, just like that. So these lessons that I've been blessed with emboldened me. My mother, we moved to a small town And they used to beat me up every day. 10, 20, 30 kids used to beat me up because I was the darkest one there. And I was 9 years old. And the principal would tell her, because I'd come home with my nose broken, my principal would tell her, hey, they're just kids. Let them play. So then one day, after getting beat up 20, 30 times, I beat up the big bully. I'm not proud. I'm just telling you that I was out of fear. And they wanted, I was in the principal's office. They wanted to send me to reform school or to put rubber on the tire school for the slow in the head. And my mother came to the school and she said to the principal, I thought they're children playing on the field. Now you want to send my son away. And she said to the principal, she took her glasses like this and said, if I tell my brother, my mother was from Crete also, not far from here. If I tell my brother what you say, maybe you no see the tomorrow. So right in front of me, my mother's threatening the principal. Meanwhile, her brother had died 20 years earlier. So she was lying to the principal and threatening him. So the principal made everything fine, and he would check up on me every day and make sure everything was great, because he must have believed her. And when we were walking out of his office, I looked at her, and my mother said to me, there's a word in Greek, it's called tharos. I haven't found that word in English, but that word means your strength, your ability to conquer, your steadfastness, your ability to remain on target, your ability to self-actualize on the planet, change things. And she said to me, that's the word tharos. She said to me, don't let anyone take your tharos. She passed away a year ago. My mom passed away a year ago. She said, don't let anyone take your tharos. And then I'd come home and she'd say, did anyone take your tharos today? And I said, no, Mom, no. And then some days she'd say, did you give your tharos to anybody? And I said, no, Mom. No, I didn't give my tharos to anybody. She goes, one day, and one time she said, did you misplace your tharos, maybe? I was like, yeah, maybe I misplaced it. Or I forgot about it. So, in the early days, Bitcoin was a curse word, you know? They thought you were a drug dealer or a money launderer or something like that. I had a bunch of businesses. I had software and real estate companies, and I threw everything away. I ignored everything once I realized what Bitcoin was, because all the candidates that we had were being demolished by the press. In the States, you're only allowed to donate $2,800 per candidate. Meanwhile, the media all day, and then with that $2,800 per person, you try to buy a commercial for 15 seconds. Meanwhile, the TV all day and night is bashing your candidate all day and night. All day and night. They destroy your candidate. No one wants to even look at your candidate. Meanwhile, it's all lies. And especially if your candidate wants to audit the Federal Reserve. So, I think, holy cow, it's been a long time. But so I thought at one time, because back in 87, I had a big business in real estate and software also. And the stock market crashed. And everyone's walking around like a zombie. Like, oh, the world's over. Me, I just kept going till I burnt all my money. Then I went and laid on my mother's couch. So what happened was, I was watching TV. Oh, and that time my friend came over. He got laid off from City Corporate, and we became commercial fishermen. So I was a commercial fisherman. And I watched on TV one time, if chairman of the Federal Reserve Greenspan's briefcase was wider, you would be able, the crash might not have occurred. If Greenspan's briefcase was wider, the crash probably was not going to happen. Probably wouldn't have happened. I heard that. I go, what? I go, that guy's briefcase? What, does he own me? Am I a slave? Who is this guy with his briefcase? I didn't know what money was. So I went to the library and I learned all about the Federal Reserve. I learned about monetary policy. I learned about everything at the library. I couldn't believe my eyes. I said, well, is this for real? Is this really happening? And I was out on a fishing boat, and I had a big, like a perfect storm of emotion. I said, I got to go into New York City now and destroy the Federal Reserve. That was 1991. So in 1991, I went to New York. I got involved with politics. I was a field director for Paul Tsongas. He ran for president against Bill Clinton. Over and over, every candidate that was against the Federal Reserve or wanted to audit the Federal Reserve would get destroyed by the press and would not win. And now, you know, it was decades later, and I thought I'd thrown my life away. I thought I threw my life away. You know, I'm an activist. I'm not a businessman. I'm an activist. I thought I threw my life away. I go, listen, this didn't work out. Nothing happened. All our candidates keep getting destroyed. And then Bitcoin clicked in my head. And I said, finally, Bitcoin. They can't get rid of it on election day. I said, finally, I have a weapon. I have a weapon against my owners. I have a weapon. And that's when I went down. I went down to Wall Street. I opened my own exchange. I said, I'm going to open an exchange. It was a big, huge place like this. I said, I'm going to open my own exchange. It was 2013. I found the biggest place right next door to the stock market. And I rented it. And, you know, the rest is history. I think we helped usher in a new era, I hope. I believe. That's me and my brother. Thank you. I got a clicker. The clicker is not. So it's up to you guys, not up to me. I'm some old guy now. And, you know, I stood on the shoulders of giants like Dr. Ron Paul, who ran for Congress because they took the United States off the gold standard in 72. So we have voting machines, paper ballot to blockchain voting machines. I have the patent on that. At one point, I had 30%. I'm also a technologist. I had 30% of the patents, blockchain patents in the world at one point. This is the old slide, the Bitcoin obituaries. There's a project where my guys put together, it's triggering smart contracts with events in the three-dimensional world. So in DeFi, the next iteration of DeFi is going to be the oracleization of these DeFi projects, where you can take data from the three-dimensional world and trigger financial events. So I think that's the next step. I know everything's moving pretty fast. Just the data's taking a little longer and very expensive to get on the chain, but it's going to happen. Humanitarian relief, you know, many of these projects that are out there, or many of the old guard, you know, you donate $1 million and $100 goes to the needy, you know. The rest of them take it for donation of their salaries. I think this was a tsunami relief center we built in 2005. We talked about decentralization. We got to leave this on a high note because I think we have this opportunity. I hope I might have sparked something other than, oh, I'm going to Lambo soon. You're going to Lambo? You know, 3 years ago, I was on stage in Toronto, and I said, oh, you want a Lambo? What if they don't let you drive? And it happened, you know. These, if we don't free ourselves with the permissionless open blockchain, they're going to imprison and enslave us and encumber us with the permissioned closed blockchain. I don't know if you guys are noticing. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on out there, and I think humanity has this opportunity to move forward in a bold and incredible way. And I think it's up to you guys. I think you know, Bitcoin is too big to fail now. Finally, it used to be the banks, but Bitcoin's too big to fail. DeFi projects are too big to fail. I mean, the banks are trying to kill them right now. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. Maybe jurisdictionally in some places, you know, you get the death penalty for using a DeFi smart contract. But Bitcoin's too big to fail. DeFi is too big to fail. You guys, I believe you guys are too big to fail. And I think it's our job, and that's all I got to say here. Thank you very much.